All right, starter turn 4. Welcome back. If you're joining me once again, at the end of turn 3, I did not describe the accidents that happened at the end of the turn. So I rolled a die and it came out of 3. So we ended up with Barbary Pirates. So once again, 2 turns in a row, we lost the Royal Navy. And then the French intrigue abroad. So we lost one of our level 4 diplomats as well. There is a cultural icon in play, and that is Goya. And he is currently in Spain. We're going to try and get him to defect to London here towards the end of the turn. We also rolled nationalism. So, and the country that rolled nationalism, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Spain, and their fervor decreased by 1 or 2 or something like that. We rolled the XYZ affair, which is basically a little war between France and the United States of America. And that did not take place. It only happens on a roll of a 6, so it didn't happen. We rolled Peace of Basel, and this is one suggestion that I have for you, and that is always leave duchy forces in Germany. Even if there's not even going to be any battle whatsoever, it would still be a good idea to spend £1 and put at least one duchy counter in Germany. And that way, if you do roll the accident Peace of Basel, that Germany will not surrender, because if they surrender, it also adds the blocking scroll on there as well. So you won't be able to bring them back into the fold until you somehow remove that blocking scroll. So it's going to take several turns potentially to get the Prussians back into the mix there. So my suggestion would always be to leave duchy forces in Prussia if you can. So after the Peace of Basel, there was irreligious fanaticism, and since it is France is a DS nation, there wasn't much change there. It would have been better if it would have happened when it was an atheist nation. We would have had a lot more effect there. But anyway, and then we went on to the Reign of Terror. Oh, that's right. So during the irreligious fanaticism, because there was a DS, we removed the Reign of Terror marker, which was the terror marker, which was in France at the time since the beginning, and that got removed and placed back onto the counter trace. So that Reign of Terror event didn't have any effect whatsoever. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and throughout this turn, basically, I'm going to continue trying to get Talleyrand out of Germany and any other diplomats that may spawn there, as well as Austria. I guess we can go ahead and roll 2d6 to see where the French diplomats are going to go. We rolled a 1 and a 6. So 1 is going to go to France, and the other is going to go to Italy. So Italy is once again the Bui nation on turn 4. So turn 3 and 4, the Bui nation is Italy. Next turn, it'll move to Austria. So that's good that we didn't get a diplomat in Austria or any more in Germany. So we're going to focus basically my entire counter diplomacy. I'm going to take all 3 of my available diplomats and attempt to get him out. I do have 1 level 4 and 2 level 3s. The level 4 is going to need a 1 or 2. We'll go ahead and do that. And we rolled a 1, so Talleyrand is gone. He's back to the hotel. Um, so yeah, now we can go ahead and attempt to. I'm gonna have to pay £3. So 1, 2, 3. That's gonna bring us down to £4 in our treasury. And to bring Russia into the coalition, it's going to cost me £2. And you can do that with any of your diplomats that are in Germany or Austria, even if they've already been used. It doesn't matter. You can still attempt to bring a neutral force into the coalition, even if they've already been used on another action. And it is going to cost £2. So that's going to bring my treasury down from 2 to 4. And Russia is now part of the coalition. Let's see if I can find it there. There it is. Russian status in the coalition. And we are going to take this very large stack of Russian force counters and place them in our force pool. And now the Russians have officially joined the war. What a great piece of news that is. So anyway, I'll continue checking in here as we go by. Any big battles, I'll probably pop in and show you. We are in turn number 4. Okay, one last thing I didn't mention, which was at the start of turn 4 when we did the high diplomacy phase, we ended up drawing 2 chits, and both of them were minor wars, one in Malta, the other was in Mysore. So we used a lot of our minor war funds. The minor war fund is now down to 4, but between funding both of those wars, we ended up winning both of them. So that moved our Napoleon abdication marker up another one. So it's now at 4 on turn 4. So hopefully by the end of the turn, we can have this up to 5. And Mysore was a war of commerce, and the Royal Navy could not get involved because they're busy with Barbary pirates. So, but we ended up winning that one as well, and that took care of both of those wars. I just wanted to mention that really quickly before we move on to the next turn. So I'll give you an update here in just a little bit. All right. So I don't know. I guess I probably will end up showing a lot more of this game than I intended to, but so we went ahead and did the Grand Army phase, the French invasion, and Napoleon. So we ended up with the Bui nation was Italy, of course, and Napoleon ended up deploying to Italy along with, I think it was 4 additional corps on top of what was already there, the 3 cavalry and the Bui stack. And it was a pretty good adjustment on their part. It brought them from 36 to 57 to 56 to 57, which is dangerous for me because Italy is in great favor of the French right now. So that is only going to give me a +1 modifier as it is right now. You can see I deployed 2 cavalry up in Austria, 2 Russian cavalry. That's because I wasn't sure if Napoleon was going to deploy in Austria or not. So I wanted to put some forces there and make it eligible to where the Prussian Blucher could get a good chance to come down here and help defend Austria if need be. That didn't take place. So what my game plan is I'm going to attempt to bring, well, first off, I'm going to start off in Spain where I deployed both Spain corps. Now they are already at a negative right now. I believe it's 10 to 7, so we're at a -3 there. But my intentions are to do this first to attempt to draw all this cavalry out of Italy and over into Spain, and then, and get this cavalry even further away into Spain, so that way they'll have a harder time getting back to Italy. Hopefully not a lot of them will make it back to Italy. And if need be, I can attempt to bring in one of these Russian cavalry corps. Can't bring them both because I need to maintain control of Austria. So my first shot is, of course, going to be the 6 strength. If not, then we'll try the 4 strength, and then we can go from there. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll handle Spain first. And we are going to roll and see if the cavalry in France goes. And there is no modifier whatsoever on this roll, so only a 6 is going to fail. And he rolls a 2. So this cavalry is going to go to Spain. And now we will roll for here. There is no coalition cavalry in Spain, but there is coalition cavalry here in Italy. Plus, it's not adjacent, so that's going to be a modifier of 2. So 4, 5, or 6, they will not go. 1, 2, or 3, they will. 5 strength. We're looking for 1, 2, or 3. And we rolled a 4, a little bit off the screen there, so they will not go. And now the 4 strength, we're looking for a 1, 2, or a 3, and we rolled a 2. Every bit helps, so they will leave. And now we will do the 6 strength, 1, 2, or 3, preferably. And we rolled a 1, so they will go. And now we can go ahead and handle that battle there. So we have a total of 7. They have, let's see, 15, 19, 25. So it is a pretty big modifier there. We only have to roll to see if they pursue. If they roll a 1 or 2 on the white die, but it doesn't matter anyway. They did roll a 1 on the white die, but Spain is going to retreat into Portugal, and they are not going to follow into Portugal. So that takes care of that. And now we can go ahead and do the battle for Italy and get this sucker out of the way here. So we are going to attempt to win this one outright. Whoops, I didn't put Napoleon there. Napoleon is in Italy with his forces right now. So first we're going to roll a die. On a 5 or 6, the Imperial Guard is going to be deployed. And we rolled a 3. The Imperial Guard is not going to be in this battle. And now we will see if their cavalry reacts. So they are not adjacent, and we have coalition cavalry in the destination. So 4, 5, or 6, they will not show up. We'll roll for the 6 strength first. 4, 5, or 6 is what we're hoping for. And we roll a 2, so they are going to come on down. And now we are going to roll for the 5. We're hoping for a 4, 5, or 6. And we roll a 3, so they are going to come on right back. And now the level 4 guy, 4, 5, or 6, they will not come. And we rolled a 4, so they will stay where they're at. Thankfully, well, at least we got 1 cavalry out of there. And then we are, well, they were actually in France, I think, so at least it kept them from coming. So now we're going to attempt to bring our cavalry in from Austria. We're going to need a 1 through 5 to get there. There is French cavalry there, so we're going to need a 1 through 4 to get there. We're going to try and get him down first. 1 through 4 is what we're hoping for. And we rolled a 6. Of course not. He's not going to make it. Now we're going to try and get the level 4 guy down there. 1 through 4. And we rolled a 3, so he will get there. And now let me go ahead and total these points back up here, and then we'll do the roll off. Okay, so it is a total of 63 coalition points to 57 French points. So we have a plus modifier of 6. And this is not going to go very well, I don't think. So we have to do the light infantry. And they are going to get a -1 on the die roll, which is going to be an automatic French dominance. Basically, they're going to get French dominance on anything but a 6, but since they have a -1 on their die roll, even if they roll 6, it's going to bring it down to a 5. So that's going to be automatic French dominance. So they're going to roll 1 die and add 6 to the roll. Even on a cavalry refight, it's not looking very good. I don't know how this is going to go. Anyway, let's do a battle roll off, see what happens. And we rolled a 3, so that's going to be a total of 9. Which is going to be a French exchange. And everybody but the strongest French unit is destroyed, which is going to be this cavalry right there. So we'll put everybody over in the casualties section. And including all of our coalition forces. I'll just move them up top there so that way the box isn't crammed up. We lost quite a large army there. And the Italian fervor is going to go back up from 15 back up to 16. Italy's given us a lot of trouble. Now we can go ahead and do the battle in Germany. This cav will attempt to go up there, but this will not because they'd lose control of Italy if they did so. And I also got to check to see if them winning with Napoleon in a battle is going to lower his abdication. I'll check that here in a little bit after this clip. But so we're going to see if he's going to join over into Germany. It's going to be anything but a 5 or a 6. And we rolled a 6, so he will not go over there. And the totals in Germany are coalition 26, French 13. And in Prussia, the fervor is rather low. They are on a 9, so we'll go ahead and roll light infantry. And we roll a 3. Fervor 9. 3 is French advantage, thankfully, some places in favor of the coalition. And so now we roll 2d6, and we are sitting at a plus 13. And we roll a 5. That is going to be 18. 18 is going to be a French retreat. They're going to move right on back to France. And fervor in Germany will lower from 9 to 8. So it is looking a little better there in the north, not so much in the south. And that's going to finish it up. Unfortunately, we're going to lose this turn. Fortunately, though, we caused French casualties, so the abdication marker will not drop. I do have to check to see if it affects anything with Napoleon winning that battle. I can't remember, so I'll check afterwards. But since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and roll a die for the French casualty. We are hoping for a 1 or a 2, and we rolled a 5. So we will not cause any permanent core loss to the French. And I'll go ahead and wrap this turn up, and I'll give you an update at the start of turn 5. Okay, into turn 4, start of turn 5 here. At the end of turn 4, we rolled on the accident chart, and we rolled a 1, which the outcome of that equaled a naval battle, which Nelson once again demolished the French fleet here. So we raised the Napoleon abdication marker up another 1. It's now at a total of 5. So we are just about a third way to victory. There was also Catholic and Royal Army, and the Royalists came back in France. So there is 1 3-strength Royalist corps down in France. That'll result in a battle, of course, when the French deploy in the Grand Army phase. And what else was there? There was irreligious fanaticism, which didn't affect too much. Adjusted the national fervor up in France, up in Germany, down in Austria, down in Spain. Then we rolled for Italy to see what had happened. It dropped. So the national fervor of Italy is 15, Spain is 13, France is still maxed out at 16, Germany is 8, and Austria is way down at 5, which is a good thing because this turn Austria is going to be the Bui nation. We also had Reign of Terror, which had no effect because the terror marker is not on the map, and the guillotine, which once again changed the French religious from deist to secular. So they are 1 step closer towards Catholicism and then on to usurper, but we'll see what happens. There was also a piece of Basel once again, which remember, because I chose to leave these duchy forces in Germany, that had no effect. So that is my suggestion, especially early game when there's a chance of that coming up, that you take care of that and always try and leave a duchy force in there so they don't surrender. The other thing we rolled was we rolled emigre, and that forces us to pay £2 out of our treasury to basically deploy the 2 emigre units in Germany. And even if your treasury is empty, if you are able to, you have to transfer £2 out of either your minor war fund or your admiralty fund. And I went ahead and transferred £2 out of the admiralty fund, and so brought that down to I think £1, something like that. What I did after that was, who knows, there's something big. Oh, the printed event. The printed event for this turn, there was 2 of them actually. There's Peace of Amiens and also the Louisiana Purchase. Now, the Peace of Amiens, there was a period in history where the new prime minister basically pulled the British out from the war for a temporary time frame. And it was Henry Addington, that's who it was. He was the new Tory prime minister. And like I said, he pulled the British out of the war on a temporary basis. And so all of the French corps have been flipped and delayed over on the available force player pool. So I will not be able to use any of my British units during this turn of the game, which is rather unfortunate. There was also the Louisiana Purchase, which was when Napoleon sold the North American Prairie Empire to the United States. And what that did was it added the Battle of Trafalgar and the Minor War of USA and one random client state to the cup. The client state was a -2 client state, which is huge for the French if that goes out on the map, especially if it goes into Austria, Germany. I'm really hoping that it does not, and because that would cause quite a bit of problems in those areas, quite a bit of potential problems. And there was also, let's see, oh, due to the Peace of Amiens, also there was another. What was it? Was it? Yeah, another client state, which was, I think it was a +1 client state. So that would benefit the coalition if that was drawn. So there's a -2 client state and a +1 client state in the cup. I can't remember if there are additional client states still at this point. I can't remember. Also, due to that piece from the British, there was, let's see, oh, the Bavarian Army Corps was added to the high diplomacy cup. So it is, I think, a level 3 corps, strength 3 corps. If that's drawn, that will go into the French Corps Cup. So they'll gain an additional corps. It'll be the Bavarian Corps, and we'll see if that comes into play anytime soon. But that's about it. We're moving on to turn 5 here, so I'm going to go ahead and probably play through this and probably highlight a battle or the battles, show them to you when they come up here. So I'll check in with you here in a couple minutes. So I went ahead, we did the Grand Army phase, and what ended up happening, and I also deployed my coalition forces, by the way. So we deployed, oh, the diplomats first. I think one deployed in Italy and the other, I think, yeah, deployed in Germany. So that's where those went. Now, in my counter debate phase, I dispatched a diplomat into Spain to remove this diplomat. He failed. And then I sent Castlereagh down into Italy to remove the newly dispatched French diplomat, and he did succeed. So we got one diplomat off the board there. But afterwards, we did the Grand Army phase and stuff, and we ended up with 4 corps, rather very strong corps. I'm glad that we got those out of the way in France, and then the 2 diplomatic forces, which of course came after we did the rest of the Grand Army phase. But 3 of them came from the invasion. Here, the Bui Nation, these are the Bui units right here on the top row. So if Napoleon does make an adjustment to Bui, those will be the units that change. And they ended up invading 3 into Germany. No, excuse me, 3 into Austria, 2 into Germany, and 1 into Italy is where they ended up invading. So my battle plan now, thus far, I outnumber them in Spain. Just deployed the 2 Spanish corps in Spain for a total of 8 battle points to 6. That's just kind of a filler, maybe to pull their French cavalry out. I don't know what order I'm going to do things in yet. But over here you can see is the large majority of French cavalry in Austria. And we are going to use, I have 2 Russian cavalry, I believe. Yeah, both Russian cavalry are there, as well as Blucher. So I think I'm going to try and fight this battle first, kill off all these units, and that way I can use my cavalry to react and reinforce these 2 locations right there. So these are my main objectives, and if I can win a lucky battle over here in Spain and reduce their fervor, hey, I'm all for it. But right now, as it stands in Austria, the French have a total of 32 battle points versus my 44, and I'm hoping Napoleon doesn't show up there. In Italy, there is French 12 battle points versus my 23, so I'm +11 there. And in Germany, there is French 14 battle points versus my 18. So I have a +4 there. The good thing about these two spots is fervor is so in favor of the coalition at this point that we are looking pretty good, especially in Austria. It really is going to depend on where Napoleon shows up, and that is what we're going to roll for right now. And so it's turn 5, so we're going to add 5 to this die roll. And we roll a 4, which is going to be a 9. And he is going to go to Spain along with 4 of his French corps. There is only 3 corps left in the cup there. So we're going to put those down there. And honestly, couldn't have asked for anything better. And another good thing about that is, assuming that, you know, there's no crazy miracle that happens and the Spanish are either going to die or they're going to fall back into Portugal, and there's still going to be French corps left in Spain. So I am going to get to try and persuade Goya to come to London and flee the French occupation there. I had the opportunity last turn on turn 4, but at that time my treasury was broke. I didn't have any funds available. It cost £2 to try and bring them over, and I did not have any money to do so. So maybe I'll get to try again this turn. I have exactly £2 in my treasury as of right now. I did had to purchase 3 stacks. I think it was. Maybe they were already in there. I don't remember. But I know I purchased these 2. There's a 3, a 2, and a 2, and a 2, 2, and a 2. I think I did actually purchase those as well. That's a 3, 3, and a 3. So I had to spend £3 on duchy forces. Those ones were there from last turn. So that is where we're at. Let's see. I still need to put 1 corps in there. He is going to draw it out of a nation, which I can't remember exactly the rule. If he is deployed and he calls from another nation, let's see. Grand strategy of Napoleon. Blah blah blah. Um. Take forces, okay, never take forces from France or the current Bui nation with the exception of grand strategy. Never leave a nation uncontrolled. Take forces from uncontested nations, leaving the weakest behind in order to maintain control. You must always pick the strongest forces. If there are not enough forces in uncontested nations to fill Napoleon's requirement, then pick up forces from contested nations nations that contain both coalition and French forces. In every nation you take forces from, the strength point difference between pro-French and pro-coalitions must remain positive for the French. So, as far as I can see, then that he can't withdraw any forces out of any of the other nations because they're all already in a negative. So, unless I'm misunderstanding, he's only gonna go to Spain with the 3 corps. So I have to check for the fervor level on that. Spain's fervor level might decrease because there is a issue with if you can't deploy enough forces per the requirement, let's say in the Grand Army phase, you know, or you go through, you deploy all your forces, and then the invasion table you roll, and you place 3 in Austria, or 3 in Italy, 2 in Spain, and then 1 in Austria. But you ran out of French corps and you don't have the corps to place in Austria, then that fervor level is going to decrease in favor of the coalition. So I need to check and see if that happens when Napoleon deploys as well. So anyway, now we know what everything is going to look like here, and I am going to go along with my original plan and attempt to, maybe should I fight this battle first to try and eliminate that cavalry, because I don't want that cavalry coming over. But what's my modifier here? My modifier in Austria is 12. If they join in, it'll be 6. In Italy, I have a plus 11. Yeah, let's fight Italy first. So it's coalition 23, French 12, Italian fervor is at 15, which is going to be, we need a 6 hopefully to get French advantage. And there is, oh man, but then this cavalry might come down. See, we can't do that. We have to risk it. We have to go here first in Austria. So it's going to be a plus 12 modifier. We're going to see if that French corps is going to come over first. There is no coalition cavalry here, but there is coalition cavalry here, so that's going to be a plus 1. So it's going to be a 5 or 6. That corps does not come across. We're hoping for a 5 or a 6. And we rolled a 4. So they are going to come over and join the battle. That is going to put them at a total of 38, leaving me with a positive modifier of 6. Oh yes, I did forget to mention here. So there was the Minor War of Corfu drawn as one of the minor events, or one of the high diplomacy events that happened. So Corfu has been invaded by the Russians. Actually, that was a multi-coalition thing. Pretty much everybody got involved in that one. It was a rather weird one. But so the Russian war marker has been placed in this box, and once all 4 of those get filled up, I think I already mentioned this, Napoleon will invade Russia. The other event that happened, I can't remember right off the bat here. I'll have to think about that. So let's handle this first, and maybe by then I'll remember. So I'm going to have a plus 6 on my modifier, but they have to roll. Austrian fervor is currently at 5, which is going to be French advantage all the way across, except for on a 6, it will be no advantage. So French advantage is good for us. It's 2 die on their battle roll. If we roll 6, that's even better. And we rolled a 3 way off the camera there, so that is not going to do it for no advantage, but it will be French advantage, which is still pretty good here. So it's going to be 2d6, and it will be plus 6 to the die roll here. And we roll a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 is going to be a coalition exchange. All units on both sides eliminated. Only the strongest coalition unit survives, which is a pity, because I was really hoping to use some of that cavalry there for assistance in the other places. But that's all right. We can deal with that. We still are going to have control over Austria. The fervor level is going to decrease from 5 to 4, which is good for us. We'll put those French in the casualty boxes. Adjust the Austrian fervor. And that cavalry won't be able to assist anyway, because we'll lose control of the Bui Nation if they go away. So that's going to cancel that out too. It's a pity. So we can go ahead and let's do Italy first. And that was actually good because we killed that cavalry was there, which makes us even stronger in Italy. That's going to take them from 12 to 6. And it's going to create a plus 17 modifier in favor of the coalition. Italian fervor is at 15, so yeah. Anything, we roll 1, which is going to be French advantage, or French dominant, excuse me. So we're going to roll 1d6, and it's going to be plus 17. We roll 3, and it's going to be 20. 20 is going to be coalition glory, all French units eliminated. So that takes care of that. And then we are going to go ahead and move on over to Germany, where we have only a plus 4 modifier. The fervor level is pretty low there for the French. Where is it at? It's at 8. So a 1 or 2 will be French dominance. 3, 4, 5, or 6 will be French advantage. We roll 3, which is going to be French advantage, so they're going to roll 2d6 and add 4 onto the die roll. And we rolled an 11. That's good. It's going to be 15 total. 15 is going to be coalition exchange. All units on both sides eliminated. Only the strongest coalition unit survives. which I believe is going to be that strength 4 Prussian unit. So everybody else is going to die. And that's a dangerous situation because if you remember the piece of Basel or Basel, however you want to say it, if that comes up this turn, Prussia is going to surrender because there's no duchy forces there. So even though I won that, and I need to adjust the Italian fervor from the loss in the French loss in Italy, and now adjust the German fervor from 8 down to 7 because the French lost in Germany as well. And now we need to do the battle in France, I guess. Here we go. So French fervor is at 16. We already know it's going to be a ridiculous modifier, so we just need to roll for light infantry. And it's going to be a 4. So that's going to be French advantage or French dominance. And then, so we're only going to roll 1d6. Now this is basically going to be a French pursuit no matter what. But what we are hoping for is that they do not roll a 1 or 2, because if they can, then they can pursue, and that'll be a bad thing. And they rolled a 4. So it is a coalition retreat. They probably think they actually go into Italy, but either way, it doesn't matter because they're not pursuing, which is good for us. If they would have pursued, that would have been a disaster because there would have been a high chance that we would have lost that battle, even if we would have been pursued down into Italy. I don't think we would have had the strength points, especially with the national fervor the way it is in Italy in favor of the French. So that was a very good thing that they didn't pursue us. And now Spain basically is going to go ahead and take place here. Let's see, we got 8 points. They have 11, 12, 13, 14. They have 18, so they're up by 7. Spanish fervor is at 13. So on a 5 or 6 will be French advantage. Anything else is French dominance. And I just roll across the board. So it's actually going to be French advantage. So they're going to have to roll 2 die here. And they have, what was it? They have a +10, +10, or a -10 modifier to this dice roll. So, and it is a 4, which -10, that's going to be French pursuit. But of course, the Spanish are going to flee into Portugal, and they are not going to follow. So the Spanish fervor level is going to go up 1 from 13 to 14. And that's going to wrap it up. It looks like we are going to win this turn again. And that will be a very good thing here. So we will wrap this up, finish up the turn. I'll roll for French casualties right now, just so you guys know I'm not cheating. Come on, 1 or 2. Come on, 1 or 2. We need this. And we roll a 2. Sweet. So we're going to look for the highest or the weakest red dot infantry, which I think I already found it. It's a 3. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, there's a 3 and a 4 in there. So we're going to permanently remove this French infantry corps with a strength rating of 3. Something better than nothing, I guess. Could have sworn I removed the French corps already. There it is. And my lasagna is ready too, just in time. All right, guys, we'll be back for turn 6. Okay, quick update here while I am wrapping up turn 5. I just rolled on the accidents and did all that good stuff. So I rolled a total of 5 on the random accidents table. So it came out to be the Institute of France, unexpected accident, which we drew an additional chit, Viva Bolivar, and naval battle. So, excuse me, we delayed 1 Spanish corps yet again, and that is that the S counter over there on the left flipped over, and the Institute of France caused some of the fervor modifications here at the end of turn 5. The fervor stands as Spanish and France fervor is maxed out at 16. Italian fervor is at 13. And let's see, the German fervor is at 6. And the Austrian fervor is way down at 3, which is a good thing because going into turn 6, The Bui nation will again be Austria. Turn 7, it's going to go over to Germany, and that is also when the continental system is going to start. Sultan Selim III is going to be this round's event. But let's get back to the accidents first. So, the chit that we drew for the unexpected accident was the minor war in Malta, and we ended up winning that war. I had to use up some of the Admiralty funds. I used all of the Admiralty funds, as a matter of fact. Or, excuse me, I used a large portion of my minor war fund, I'm sorry, to influence this battle, and I ended up winning cleanly with a nice roll. So, since that was a strategic war, it moved the Napoleon abdication marker up 1. And then we had another naval battle. And with Nelson in the high seas, the naval battles are going rather smoothly. But just in case, I used the entire Admiralty budget that was there. There wasn't that much there. I think it was 2, maybe 3, because we used some pounds last turn because of the Emmy Gray accident that happened, and we didn't fully replace those funds there. So we fought another naval battle on the high seas, and as you can see, Nelson and the Royal Navy are still out there on the high seas. So that should be a good indicator that we won, and that also moved the Napoleon abdication marker up. So with everything that happened on turn 5, it was one of the bright spots of this game so far. I think we're moving along quite nicely here. You can see the Napoleon abdication marker is now on the 8th track. So we are now halfway to victory. But you know, that could change very quickly with some of these events here. I am getting to be in the zone. Actually, in about 4 or 5 more turns, it will be to the point where I have not played past that turn count. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen after there, or at least I don't. And I know this game can really throw some curveballs at you. I enjoy it very much, and we'll keep on seeing how it goes here. But I'm going to go ahead and start off turn 6. Um, what else was I going to say here? I don't know. Anyway, the event, since I'm here, I can talk about it. The printed event on the turn is the Turkish Sultan, I believe, or the Ottoman. Let's see. What is that printed event again? Sultan. So, Sultan. Sultan Selim III. Turkey begins a series of wars with Russia. Only in the Caucasus did Russia achieve a decisive victory. Add Caucasus, Serbia, Balkans to the High Cup. Place the Ottoman army in the Balkans brown box and simply leave it there. It is relevant to other random accidents. So we're going to add the Caucasus, the Serbia, and the Balkans minor war to the High Politics Cup, and we're going to place the Ottoman army down there on the map in the Balkans brown box, which would be here. So I'm going to dig those counters out, and then we will be right back and get this baby started on turn 6. Okay, so we are back. We are starting off turn 6. I went ahead and did the get money phase. I have a total of 4 pounds in my Admiralty budget. I have 8 pounds in my treasury, and I have a large sum of 13 pounds in the minor war fund. Speaking of minor war fund, the last clip I said in the random accident, I drew a Malta chip. That was incorrect. I actually drew the minor war of Senegal chit. So everything I said actually took place on the minor war of Senegal, and we ended up winning that battle. And it was not the War of Malta that took place earlier, I believe. So we need to draw 2, I believe. Let me start. I guess I better start. No, see? Turn 6 is 3 chits. I'm going to draw 3 chits this turn. So we'll go ahead and handle the first here. And the first one is going to be the Treaty of San Ildefonso. So that is going to turn Spain into an ally of France. Let me see if I can find that counter out here. Spain French. So we are going to replace this coalition Spanish counter with the Spain and French allied counter. We're going to put that down there. We'll put that other counter back in the holding box. And now we are going to take these two Spanish corps here, who have been sort of fighting on my side when they haven't been delayed or sick, and we place those in the French Corps Cup because they are now French allies, and they will deploy along with the French army potentially. So that's the first of three. Next one, USA minor war. So the minor war in the USA. The neutral Americans did a booming trade with Napoleon's France. The British tried to stop it by kidnapping American sailors. The Yanks responded by failing to conquer Canada. That's a little harsh. The dimly remembered War of 1812. Minor War 49 in that box, but first add £3 to the treasury for the value of kidnapped American sailors. That is decent. So we're going to add £3 here to the treasury. So from 8 to £11. And the minor war in the USA is going to require, ouch, a roll of 13 or higher. We do have the Royal Navy, which is going to add +2 to that die roll. Thank goodness we have a very high amount in our minor war fund because we need to keep that cranking up. This is a strategic war here. So we are going to spend quite a bit. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to spend £8 out of our minor war fund. It's now 5. So we're going to get +2 and plus the +8. So that's going to be a total of +10. And we're going to need 13 or higher. So as long as we don't roll snake eyes, we should be okay. And we rolled a 6 and a 6. We rolled a 12 there, so we wasted a whole lot of money. That's okay for peace of mind. And we are going to win the war in the USA. And the Napoleon abdication marker is going to go from 8 to 9, so things are looking better. And the next and last final chip, let me do this on camera so you guys don't think I'm cheating, is going to be an État, a client state. And that's a very good client state for the French. It's at -2. Let's see where he's going to go. And we rolled a 6, which is going to be in the Bui nation. That's not good. So they are attempting to create a Bui or a client state in Austria, which is currently the Bui nation, with one of their most capable administrations, I guess you'd call it. So, okay, that's the 3 chits here. So we are going to go into the diplomacy phase, counter diplomacy phase, and then I'll deploy the Grand Army and the coalition, and I will come back when Napoleon is getting ready to deploy. Okay, so real quick, the diplomats that the French deployed, one went to Spain and the second went to Germany. I'm okay with them being in Spain right now. I don't really want to worry about the French in France right now. And Talleyrand is in Italy, which I'm not too concerned about as of this time either. I'd like to keep, I don't really want to get him out of there because there's a chance that he could redeploy to Austria or Germany, which I think would be bad news on my part. So I'm going to go ahead and try to remove the 2 diplomats out of Germany. I will go ahead and pay for them now. So my treasury is now at £9, and we'll go ahead and roll for the first one, 4 or less. And we rolled a 5, so that is no good. And the second one, 4 or less. And we rolled a 6. Wouldn't you go figure? So both of my highest level diplomats failed to get out their generic diplomats out of Germany. And that takes care of the counter debate phase. So we're going to go ahead and do the Grand Army phase. And I will take care of that right now. All right, let me see if I can get this centered here. Looks like it. I think you can see the whole map from there. Maybe a little bit of the bottom is cut out, but for the most part, you can see what we need to see. So I've gone ahead and did the Grand Army phase as well as the coalition deployment. So what we have here is the French deployed 4 units to France and then 4 in the Bui Nation in Austria. And they deployed a rather hefty stack here as their Bui forces. They have 3 6 strength units along with a 4 strength unit as their Bui stack. And then, of course, the diplomacy phase, they put 2 in Germany, 2 in France, 2 in Spain, and 1 down in Italy. The invasion roll was an 8, which 3 units went to Germany, 2 went to Italy, and 1 went to Austria, which was their invasion roll. And then I went ahead and deployed. I deployed a majority of my forces in Austria, and then second focus was Germany, and then Italy. So the way the strength points are matching up here is in Austria, the Bui Nation, the coalition. I have a total of 46 battle points going up against the French of 26. In Germany, the coalition has 32 versus the French of 25. And then down in Italy, the coalition, I have 21 versus the French 13. I'm starting to have bad premonitions of what's going to happen this turn. I'm not comfortable with any of it here. I did try my best, and well, I brought out basically all the duchy forces. This stack of 3 2s was already there. I purchased this stack of 3 3 and 3, and this stack is, an extra bonus of 1 1 and 1. This stack up in Germany is 3 2 and 2, and that pretty much used up all of my duchy forces. I have 1 strength 1 counter left over in the player force pool, which I could have used, but I'm not feeling that desperate. I do have a bad feeling about this though. So we are going to find out where Napoleon is going to deploy, and we are going to roll, and it's turn 6, so we're going to add 6 onto the die roll here, and that is a cock die on the counter there, so we'll re-roll it, and it's going to be 2, which will be a total of 8, and he is going to deploy to Germany with 3 corps, and they only have 2 corps left, so, and they won't take from France, and they do not have, oh, they do have a pot of modifier, so he's going to pull one of those 6 corps from Spain, which is not good. So Napoleon is going to go to Germany with a cavalry unit, a level 4 corps, and he's going to call over one of these strength 6 corps from Spain. That is not a good thing. We'll put Napoleon right up there. So that's going to be a total of 14 more battle points in Germany. And that is going to put them at a total of 39 battle points in Germany versus my 32. So how are we going to do this? Well, I have the heftiest advantage in Austria. Of course, the French have quite a bit of cavalry here that they can bring over. Cavalry down in Italy, cavalry down in France they can bring over. But really, I don't think I have a choice. I think that's where they're going to have to bear the brunt of it. And also, the Austrian fervor level is so far down; it is at 3. Even though they have this, so it's basically on the 3 table, it's going to be French advantage on a 1 to 4. On a 5 or 6, it would be no advantage. But since this is a -2 to the light infantry roll, there's no way I'm going to be able to get the no advantage, the 3 dice roll down here. So it's pretty much going to be 2 dice roll no matter what in Austria. But that's still better than 1 die on the light infantry. So um, I think we don't have a choice. I think we're going to have to do this down in Austria and see how their cavalry is going to react. So let's see if these French cavalry come over. So they're not adjacent. They have more than one. There's no coalition cavalry over there, but there is coalition cavalry here. So That would be a 4, 5, or 6. They fail. So they are looking for a 1, 2, or a 3. We'll do the 6 strength core first. 1, 2, or 3. They come. And we rolled a 3, so that core is going to come. That's not good. And now the 5 core, 1, 2, or 3. And they rolled a 4, so they will not come. And now we will see if this cavalry comes, the 4 corps that came with Napoleon. And they are adjacent, but there's coalition cavalry here and coalition cavalry here, so it's going to be the same modifier. 4, 5, or 6 fails, so that cavalry needs a 1, 2, or a 3. And we roll a 6, so they will not come. That's a shame. And then this cavalry right here down in Spain, they are adjacent, and there's no coalition, but there is cavalry here. So it'll be a 5 or 6 fail, so they need a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And they roll a 1, so they will join in. So that's going to be plus 11 battle points in Austria, which will bring them up to a total of 37. So let's handle this here. I'm at a modifier of 9. We'll go ahead and roll light infantry just for tradition here. So it's a -2 on a die roll. So 4, 3, 2. And that's going to be French advantage, like I had predicted. So they are going to roll 2 die here. And it is going to be a +9 in my favor. And we rolled a 4, which is going to be a 13. 13 is going to be coalition exchange. All units on both sides eliminated. Only the strongest coalition unit survives, which that's what I was trying to avoid. I was really hoping that some of this cavalry would stay here. That way I'd be able to react up into Germany. That's not going to be good, so we'll go ahead. We're going to leave Blucher there, and we'll kill everybody else. We did get rid of a couple cavalry units there, though, so that is good, but still not good enough, because it's looking like we're going to lose Germany, which is going to be a horrible thing, because they are going to surrender if we lose that war. I'm going to adjust the Austrian fervor level down to 2 at this point, because we won that battle in Austria. And now what? I think maybe we should handle Italy first and once again try and, well, the thing is, though, if we do that, this cavalry could come down too, and I think that would put it over the top for the French. We're up 21 to 13 right now, so if both those cavalry came down, we'd probably be in trouble, but, you know, we can't have this one going in there, so we have no choice. We have to do Italy. And so we will roll and see if this cavalry joins in. There is no modifiers because there's no coalition cavalry here, none here, and it is adjacent, so they will go over on a 1 through 5. 6, they will fail. And they roll 3, so they will go down, which is not good. You're hoping for them to fail on this one to succeed. So, well, no, because we couldn't have them going back up either. So now we will roll for them. There is coalition cavalry here. There's none here, and it's not adjacent. So a 4, 5, or 6 will fail. They're looking for a 1, 2, or a 3. And we rolled a 4. So they are not going to bite on that. We're going to go ahead and handle this up. So they need to add +5 onto there. So they're looking at 13, which is the exact same battle points that it was beforehand. So we're going to have a +7. It's going to be +8. It's going to be 13 to 21. Italian fervor. Where are all my dice going? There they are. They're right in front of me. Italian fervor is 13. So We're hoping for a 5 or a 6 here. And we roll 2. So that is going to be French advantage. And it is going to be a +8 on this die roll here. And we roll a 5. It's going to be 13, which is, again, going to be a coalition exchange. So we'll just take them off. And we will adjust the Italian fervor from 13 to 12 because we won Italy. And now it is all going to boil down to, let's see if I can get that straight, Germany. This is not looking good whatsoever. I'm almost tempted to bring over Blucher into Germany, even though I will lose control of Austria. At least they won't surrender. I may lose the turn because I won't control the Bui nation, but anything that I can do to even the odds out here, I'm down by 7. If I move Blucher up, I'd be down by 1, which is still the best I could hope for. Would probably be a cavalry refight, and I think I would have that upper hand if I did that. So I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to give up control of Austria here. So let's do it. There is no French cavalry here, but there is French cavalry here. It is adjacent. So a 5 or 6 would fail. Blucher is going to try and make it over to Germany. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Anything but a 5 or 6. And we roll 2. So Blucher is going to react over into Germany. And we can add those 6 points. So we have a total of 38. The French have a total of 39. So it's going to be a -1 on the modifier. There is a client state there, but it has an X, so we're not worried about that. German fervor is currently at 6. So it'll be French advantage on anything but a 1. So please don't roll a 1. We need this. Please don't roll a 1. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. We roll a 1. So it's going to be French dominance. And we're screwed. It's going to be a -1 on the die roll. So the best we could hope for is a coalition retreat. This is going to be horrible. Because if it's a French pursuit and they chase us into Austria, we're probably going to be facing not much better odds than we are now. It'll be a little, well, plus the fervor will be in our favor, but there's a chance we could end up having Germany and Austria surrender right now. So it's going to be a -1 on the die roll. And we roll 2, which is going to be a 1. And that is French glory. All coalition units eliminated, period. So that's it. I'll go ahead and do this and clean it up and have Prussia surrender. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I mean. Things can turn around very quickly in this. So I'll get back to you in just 1 second. Okay, I missed one step there really quickly in this battle, which is I forgot to see if Napoleon's going to deploy his guard. And if he brings on the guard, that would modify it down to a French pursuit. And since they rolled a 2, they would pursue into Austria. So I have to roll a die, and on a 5 or a 6, the guard will be deployed, and so I'll place that there, and then we'll do the pursuit down into Austria. So on a 5 or 6, this is not going to be good. And we rolled a 3, so that he did not deploy the guard. So we're going to leave the results as they were with that, with all the coalition units eliminated. And I have to look, since Napoleon was involved in that battle, I got to check and see if there's any further modifications. So I'll let you know here in just a second. Thanks for bearing with me. All right, so I'm getting ready to roll for French casualties and then clear the deck. I've been doing this turn 6 wrap up here, but I wanted to talk about a very big effect that has happened. So, Prussia has surrendered. So, all the Prussian forces have now gone into the neutral force pool. I can no longer use those. And not only that, but since there were no Russian units on the map, Russia has also surrendered. So I have lost two of my biggest allies this turn. Russia's forces have been placed back into the neutral forces box, and this is a big problem because in order to get these nations back, I have to get these two diplomats out of Germany next turn, and then persuade Prussia to come back into the coalition. And then if I can keep them out of Germany as well as no diplomats are deployed to Austria, then I can also attempt to bring Russia back in. But, we'll have to see where the French deploy their diplomats here. It's tough. At least Talleyrand is down in Italy and Reinhardt is over in France. So that's a good thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for French casualties really quickly, and I'm hoping for a 1 or a 2. And I rolled a 6. So there is not going to be any permanent removal of the French. So we're going to go ahead and clear the deck and remove all of them. I'll do that off camera here in just a moment. I am going to transfer some funds here because I have £6 in my treasury. I'm going to get 13 back. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer £3 into my minor war fund, putting my treasury at 3 and moving my minor war fund to 8. And that will take care of that. But now we're going to go ahead and roll for random accidents. And since it's still young Napoleon on the map, it is going to be just 1d6. And we roll a 5, which once again is going to be Institute of France, Unexpected Accident, Viva Bolivar. So one of the Spanish corps will get delayed this turn. I'm going to make it be the 5 ranked Spanish corps. So I'll put him over in the casualties box just so I can remember. Get those French out of there for the time being. And that will take care of that. The unexpected accident that we'll do that right now. And it is going to be another client state, -1 client state. So let's see where he's going to go. And he goes to 3, which is Austria, which is a good thing because it will replace this -2 client state. He's going to be removed from play. So that takes care of that. Oh, one other thing. Since Napoleon, the young Napoleon, won in Germany, Germany's fervor level rose by +5. And then at the end of the turn, the fervor modifications was another +1, so it went up a total of 6. So German fervor, which was down, I think at 6, is now at 12. So we're right back to square one with Germany. They're right back in favor of Napoleon, which is another bad thing for us. Back to the accidents. Institute of France is some morale adjustments here. I can't remember exactly which ones, so we'll look it up here. Institute of France will be French government promotes the practical application of science throughout Europe, increased fervor by +5 in one random nation, also raise fervor by +3 in each nation that currently contains a cultural icon marker, which is Spain. And I forgot to do the gentleman phase, so actually I'm going to spend £1 and try and get him over to us. So I think it's anything but a 5 or 6. He'll come over, but let's see. 1 through 4. Yeah, spend £1 from the treasury and roll a die. And a roll 1 through 4, the effort is a success. Move the cultural icon to London at once. So we're hoping for a 1 through 4. And we roll a 2. So Goya is going to go over to London. And we will not have that Institute of France issue there. So back to the +5 in one random nation, anything but Austria. And we roll a 6, which guess what? It's Austria. So, we worked so hard. The fervor in Austria was down to 2 at that point, so it's going to go back up to 7. So Austrian fervor is at 7. Just bad things happening, one after another after another. Coming off of such a great turn, man, this is killing me. We do have one last hope that can at least be a bright spot in this turn, and that is the naval battle. The naval battle, Nelson is there, so we're going to roll 3d6. You need a 10 or more. And what do we have in our Admiralty budget? 4. We're going to go ahead and spend it all. So we're going to get a +4 on this. 3d6, we need a 10 or more. And we beat it without the fund in the first place, but we still had to do it. So the Napoleon abdication marker is going to go up from 9 to 10. And that's going to take care of that. We're going to go ahead and clear the map here, and we'll be back for the start of turn number 7.